All right, everyone, round three, as I said, is done. And we are doing our player interviews, and we have Jessica here. Jessica, how are you?
I'm great. How are you, Phil?
I'm doing good. We had our first quiz elimination. So why do you think Anthony went?
I mean, obviously he went because he did the poorest on the quiz. Um, I don't know. I didn't speak to him too much through the game, so I don't know what his approach was for the quiz. What I heard through someone, I think it was Chell, who said that he thought Anthony was suspicious of Jonathan, whether or not he went down that route and he was wrong, or Chell's lying to me to stir the pot. I don't know. I really don't know where Anthony's head was at. He wasn't on he wasn't on my short list as a mole anyway, so it wasn't a huge surprise. I thought I would get more information that first elimination, but it actually didn't give me much of anything to go off. Yeah.
The last two nights have brought in some cash to the prize pot. What?
Yeah.
Why did the team do so well in the challenge?
Because the moles, I'm not really sure what they're, no. So what I've said this leading into the challenge that like if I was the mole, I would schedule all the alarms between 3 and 4 or 3 and 4 a.m. because I feel like that was the best shot at people not like log will catch the alarm. And the only thing I could think of, assuming you didn't have any like you gave the mole, the full 7 p.m. or 9 p.m. to p.m. without any blocks of time, assuming the mole could schedule it at any time during that. The only reason why I think the mole didn't do something like that was the mole was concerned about you, Phil, want to force you to get up in the middle of the night to run the game and didn't think that was fair for you. Um, So that was my only thinking there. Or the mole was just not being super strategic and just randomly placed them throughout the day. But yeah, was not felt like a what could have been a really, really difficult challenge for us turned into something very, very easy for us. So kind of surprised how that played out.
What do you think the mystery mole power is?
Oh, I have no idea. I was trying to get information from Heather the last couple days. It is um all that I've been told is that there's some time limit consume. It's something that needs to be activated by a certain point in the game, which I kind of suspected anyway. Um I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's something that like just causes a bit of chaos in, know if it's something that allows Heather to target another player specifically, make it harder for somebody, or gives have advantage in the game, or if there's something that she needs to do activate the power as well. I have no idea. I'm not too worried about it. I'm hoping that Heather and I have talked enough that if it's something that would target another player, she wouldn't. Um, and if it gives her an advantage in the game, so be it. Not really too worried about it. So it'll be interesting to see what it ends up being, but it's kind of at this point, and it doesn't sound like Heather wants to share exactly what it is. So time will tell.
Um, Tell me about your current three mole suspects.
I I've gone through a little bit of a roller coaster in the last couple about who my top pick is because I think prior few days Heather and Tiffany still remained like my top sort of two. And then I went this path of looking at the mole messages that every week or from the mole. And I looked at the most recent one that called itself Jonathan and Brandon in the message, and I read it, and oh, I might be. I'll get back to that. I assuming that the mole is actually the one writing that. There's no, and you're not crafting them. I was looking at it again if I could figure out any sort of writing style or pattern. The thing I noticed in the messages is that this person, assuming it's the mole writing these, is two spaces after punctuation. And to me, that is a sign of somebody who I say is older, but typically somebody that has grown in the age of like typewriters, because they were used to do punctuation rather than computers. So I thought to myself, okay, the oldest person playing is Tina as a Facebook friend. So I started going through her messages, and sure enough, I started noticing similarities. Like the spaces after the punctuation, the multiple punctuation marks. She also um the message didn't use a lot of contractions, so it's instead of saying like they would write out it is. She did that on some of her Facebook posts as well. So I kind of found super convinced that it was Tina. And this was literally like an hour or two before um, Chell and Jonathan and we have a thread going, and there was happening in our messaging around, I think Jonathan, oh, if Tina, she's now said that she's available to do the next, if she gets the exemption, 100% she's the mole. And that's exactly what happened is the she asked for a count on the alarms. We were at 6. She's like, I'll do this. She logged in and she got the exemption, and so Jonathan and Chell are now also convinced that it's Tina, and I was convinced that it was Tina for a completely other, haven't disclosed to anybody. So I'm for those reasons, Tina is my number one suspect. I'm sorry, this was a long-winded answer. But Tina is number one suspect based on those couple things. And obviously, I was so convinced, and now I'm feeling like I was like 100% sure, and now I'm starting like to doubt myself based on the fact when we got together last night to play the challenge, there was a question on, do we think the mole's the one actually writing the messages? And there people were like, oh no, I think it's Phil writing it based on something that was in there. And now I'm like, oh well, and then that completely throws that theory out there. And maybe Tina just got lucky with with the exemption. So I'm starting to have a little bit of not 100% confidence anymore, but I feel like Tina's my number one at this point. I think with and Heather still being my three. And I could be completely wrong on this, but also thinking the decision of the alarm challenge and somebody just wanted, I feel like not scheduling them in the middle of the night was to save you from getting up in the middle of the night. And I thought to myself, oh, that's a definitely who wants to be nice and didn't want to put Phil out. So I was like, so that also played into the ability of it being Tina and Heather and Tiffany, because I thought, oh well, if Jonathan was super strategic about it, just as I would have been and scheduled them in the middle of the night, he wouldn't have cared about your feelings. I wouldn't have at 3 a.m. So yeah, that's my line of thinking. I yeah, it will be interesting to see how the quiz goes because I think the last couple I've kind of split it out. So I'm debating whether or not if I want to go all in on one person and just so.
Well, who do you hope is eliminated next to help you get some information in the game?
I mean, if there's a way, if Tina got eliminated and I was still around, I mean, it'd be very, I don't know if that would give me information, but it'd be very interesting. Just the fact, like I think Jonathan, Chell, and I all feel like it's Tina got eliminated. That'd be quite eye opening and would result in us having to um, I don't know if there's anyone else that would. I think it got eliminated because she's one that I'm suspecting a bit too, just because she's so quiet. So if she did, maybe that would um feel more confident in feeling that it's now Tina. Same with Heather, I think too. Yeah, and I mean, if Heather were to be eliminated, it might be up for grabs too, which would also be nice too.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.